Hello guys, gals, and infinity pals, welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to continue and refresh the job-specific Gilmaking videos, and starting today with Weaver. I'll show you how you can make a ton of gil with only your Weaver, and whether you're low level or endgame, there's something here for everyone. All the lists and resources that I'll mention today will be listed down below in the blog post. With all that being said, let's get into it. And with low level, this is a great opportunity to make a ton of gil if you are low level or you don't have a lot of gil to invest in. Of course, every time you craft, you're investing gil in the materials or you're investing time when you're gathering. But if you don't have a ton of gil, there are 3 lists: job quest items, worthwhile leveling gear with Weaver, and Weaver leave quest items 70 to 90. This is usually when people break off from the firmament and they actually need leave quests to go ahead and farm XP. A lot of people don't bother actually crafting for their leave quests. They just go to the market board and buy the items to turn in. It's important to craft all these items here in high quality, since you get double XP for having it high quality, and people prefer high quality gear. But if you are new and you haven't seen the first list or the second list, let's quickly go over all 3 of them. And the first up being the 1 to 60 Weaver job quest item list. The best part about this list is you don't have to do a lot of gathering because a lot of the items are buyable from the vendor. If you're wondering where you can get a specific item and from what vendor, just click on the gil sign and it'll show you all the vendors that sell this item and where exactly you can find them. But let's go ahead and take a look to the price to craft and the profit amount. Once you fill prices based on market board prices and your server only down here, you can see the price to craft and the amount of profit you'll make. If you crafted this entire list, you would make a profit of 800,000, which is pretty good when you're only spending 130,000 for all the items. My favorites being the chivalric doublet of healing, the holy rainbow hat of healing, the woolen tights, and the 3 partition pieces are all really good, and they sell often and for quite a bit. Now you can do, of course, 2 of each, but you could do 5 or craft 10 of them and just have them ready for whenever they're bought. You can post another one. But if you craft only 2 of each of these items, again, you'll make 800,000. But let's go on to the next list. Next up is worthwhile leveling gear with Weaver, only crafting and gathering. And at crafting gathering, meaning crafting and gathering gear. This list is a lot bigger than the last one, and it goes all the way up from level around 30, 40 up to 90. But you don't need max level endgame gear to craft a lot of these, or even good stats. If you went ahead and crafted this entire list, you would be spending 259,000, but you would be making a profit of 3.6 million. I recommend picking and choosing if you don't want to go ahead and craft this entire list, and always craft high quality. Scarlet Moko Vest of Gathering, you can craft it at normal quality for 45,000, but at high quality it's at 200,000. Even lower level items like the Holy Rainbow Wedge Cap is selling at high quality for 62,000. The Holy Rainbow Coatee for 46,000, the bottoms for 52,000, and the whole set sells for quite a bit. So again, you don't need to be at max level, have good stats, or good gear. This is a great way to make a ton of gil with very little investment or effort. And finally, the Weaver leave quest items 70 to 90. There is a total of 25 items, and if you crafted everything in this list, you would be spending 380,000. but you would make back a profit of 5.3 million. Again, we're always crafting high quality, and the items that have a number 9 instead of a 3 in the quantity is because people require 3 crafts per turn in. So people will usually buy 3 at a time, other than the items that I only put for 3. You can turn in only 1 at a time. Again, this is from level 70 to 90, so you do have to be a little bit higher level than the other lists, but it's a great source of income, again, if you don't want to spend a ton of gil on the investment and you're able to craft these pieces high quality. Always check the price to craft and see if the items are bought often on your server before you go ahead and start crafting. But since these are for leave quests, these are especially great when there's times in the expansion where there's new crafting and gathering content. People will start to go ahead and level their crafters and gatherers, or whenever there's a new expansion coming out, especially people are desperate to level fast. That's where this list gets really good. good. And now let's move on to the next section, intermediates. Now this list has all the cloths in the game that is craftable by Weaver, and here is the full list. Now I don't recommend going and crafting this entire thing because I only put 1 of 1 per each cloth. It's more to see how much you can make in the price to craft per cloth. So for example, bayberry cloth costs 10k to craft, but if you craft it for high quality, you're going to be making 15,000. If you craft it normal quality, you'll still make profit at 13,000. Saffron cloth craftable at 1.9k, but people don't usually buy it at high quality. You would much rather craft normal quality and you would make 8k profit per cloth, selling at 9,600 each. So instead of crafting this entire list, look around, see what cloth sells best and for a good amount of profit, and make sure you're crafting at a profit by checking price to craft. For example, the Ute yarn is craftable at 111,000 gil, but you can only sell it for 97,000, which means you're losing money. The undyed woolen cloth is 840, but you can sell it for 9,600. I also went ahead and added a saddlebag preset. You can screw around with the parameters if you would wish to. You can increase the scan hours to see if you want something that sells a little slower but is more expensive, but for now I'm going with 48 hours, and at least 5 have been sold within those 48 hours, and the average price of 1,000 gil. Make sure you're on the right server and hit search. And you can sort by sale rate meaning how quickly or how slowly it's been sold. The higher the rate, the quicker it sells. You don't really have to pay attention to the profit amount unless you are flipping. So let's say I go ahead, go to Tintania, I can sell on Louis Soif for 22,000, which means I would make 20k in profit. But if you're only interested in crafting, just sort by the home server price and you can see what's the most expensive and what's not. But it also includes glamour items that are not craftable by Weaver, but buy from the treasure maps, such as all these here, but the Rami thread, pale blue kudzu cloth, Rami cloth, and undyed woolen cloth are craftable. If you're ever unsure, you can go ahead and use the bar down below and check the item data right here. If it's sold by a vendor, you can also see where the vendor is by clicking it here. And next up is the Masterbook items. Now of course, there is a barrier entry to Masterbook items, since you have to unlock all the Masterbooks or whichever Masterbook you need for that recipe. And again, you don't have to be max level to craft a lot of these items, and the way you unlock Masterbooks is of course with scripts, but I have a video on that, so if you are brand new to the game or you've never done this before, I do recommend watching that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the list. And here is the list. If you went ahead and crafted everything here, you'd be spending 1.5 million, which is a lot more than the other lists, but you are making 7.2 million back with a profit of 5.7 million total. And there is all sorts of things here. A few glamour items such as the red ribbon, craftable at 4k gil, but sellable at 82,000. Of course, the chivalric doublet of healing that we discussed earlier, it is a Masterbook craftable item, craftable at 14,000, but sellable at 52,000. And the perfect cloth, craftable at 20,000, but sellable at 59,000, and of course high quality. Next up is endgame crafting. Now I do have to preface that I personally dislike endgame crafting since there is so much competition, so much undercutting, and not that much profit considering all the other stuff that we can craft with our Weaver. But if you are interested in endgame gearing, whether for yourself or to sell, the Renacita set is for all the job sets and weapons, though for Weaver you can only craft chest pieces, hand pieces, and so on. Same for the crafting and gathering set, the body pieces and more cloth type pieces you can craft, and these two lists are down in the blog post. Though if you're not interested in the job gear, then glamour is also a great option. And here is the full glamour list. There is a ton here, and I personally recommend picking and choosing items that are worth it. Personally, I'm not going to craft something that only gives me 20k in profit. I'm looking for the big ticket items. So pick and choose what you want to craft and deselect anything that you don't want to craft. For the items selected, I would be spending 5 million to craft these items, but I would make back 5.9 million in profit, which is pretty good. The reason I put this in the endgame tab is some of these items are quite hard to craft, especially towards the bottom here where you have to be level 90 to craft these items. but the higher you go up, the easier the crafts are. Something like the winter sweater or the taffeta shawl, that's like 50, 60, 70 right here. The light steel subligar is not crafted by Weaver, so do make sure that whichever you're choosing is crafted by Weaver because this contains all the glamour. But here we have the replica high elegant coat of healing, craftable at 25k but sellable at 105,000. The taffeta shawl, craftable at 30,000 but sellable at almost 100,000. So pick and choose what you want to craft, make sure that you're level appropriate, and you'll make a pretty good amount of gil with just glamour. Next up is furniture and Weaver specific furniture. Weaver has a few good items, and if you went ahead and crafted this entire list, you would be spending 700,000, but you would make back 1.6 million. Of course, you can craft more than one or two, and especially if you notice that items are selling quite quickly and people tend to buy more than one at a time, then of course craft more. But there are a lot of good items with only Weaver, such as the large woven rug, craftable at 242,000, quite expensive, but sellable at 628,000. The fat cat sofa, craftable at 12,000 and sellable at 62,000. The most important thing is to really avoid furniture items that retainers bring back. There are a few Weaver housing items that I just didn't put here because even though you can go ahead and craft the item, since retainers bring it back so often, the price goes down like crazy and it's just not worth it. But everything here is profitable. Pick and choose what you want to craft and you'll make profit no matter what. Next up is Scrip, crafting white scrips and purple scrips. Now make sure that whatever you're spending your scripts on is actually worthwhile. Since Weaver tends to not be the best script craftable, I personally tend to craft the alchemist and culinarian script crafts, but you still can make profit if you buy the right items with your scripts. And with the list, we can do exactly that. And here's the white crafter script farming list. Now, the way you use this list is by selecting whichever rarefied craft you are going to want to go ahead, farm, and craft. All of these that are highlighted are the Weaver ones, and the lower level the craft, the more you're going to have to craft to get the same amount of crafter script, which is 2,000 for this list. But for myself, I'm going to go ahead and choose the Arcane Velvet Bottoms. Each craft would cost me 3k per craft, and I would need to craft 13 of them to hit 2,000 scripts. But now I'm going to select what I want to spend those 2,000 scripts on. If I went ahead and bought some grip gel, I would be spending 48,000, but I would only be making back 54,000. If I went ahead and instead selected the King Crafting Materia, I would be spending 40,000, but I would make back 96,000. I could also buy the Cunning Materia 5. I would be spending 40,000 again, but I would make back 93,000. But I would make back 93,000. So depending on what you want to go ahead and craft, you can easily see whether or not you're crafting at a profit depending on what you're going to buy with your scripts. And the purple script list acts the same way. Now there's not as many options since you do have to be endgame to go ahead and craft purple scripts, but the Arcane Velvet Work Cap is the Weaver craftable script recipe, so you can go ahead and select that, and for 2,000 scripts you can choose what you want to buy. So for myself, I would go ahead and buy a command materia and I would make a profit of 8,000 since I'm spending 12,000 in the craft itself. Or I could go ahead and buy some sunset carrots. I'm spending again 12,000 for the 4 crafts and making back 47,000 with a profit of 35,000. So always make sure that you're crafting for a profit even if it's for scripts. But now let's go on to the next section. And the final section is Bardings. Now Weaver has a good amount of worthwhile Bardings, and the list contains all the Bardings that are craftable. Some few worthwhile Weaver Bardings is the Barding of Divine Light, craftable at 208,000 and sellable at 500k. Next being the Orthodox Barding, craftable at 7,600 and sellable at 155,000. And this Barding is also low level. And the Lunar Barding, craftable at 122,000, sellable at 300k. So that's how you can make a heck ton of gil with only your Weaver. Hopefully this can put you on the right track, especially if you only have one crafter class. Weaver was the first one I leveled when I was a sprout, and I was really desperate for some good recipes that I could go ahead and craft without needing the other classes. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you're curious about the race change, and depending whether or not you like Lalafels, don't don't worry, it's not permanent, or sorry, it's not going to be permanent. Either way, I'll go back to Makode a little longer from now, but you know, I kind of like the Lalafell. It's kind of cute. If you see me in any parades or you see me out in Limsa, please, you know, go ahead and give me a pat. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all our YouTube members, Twitch subs, and Discord boosters. You all keep the channel going. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye-bye.